Good evening, fight fans. The Wildcat here, bringing you another episode of In This Corner. Let me just start off by saying that, wow, I am totally excited for the matchup coming up tonight on HBO, a doubleheader featuring both junior welterweight and super bantamweight action. Let me just jump into the 140-pound matchup first, because it's one that a lot of people really didn't see coming, but once it was announced, holy cow, the whole place went nuts. I'm talking about former lightweight champion Brandon Bam Bam Rios moving up finally in weight to take on Mile High Mike Alvarado. Now Rios, the former lightweight champion, has had some trouble making weight his last couple of fights, and it really became apparent in his last two. The last of which was a split decision victory over Richard Abril. You know, a lot of people thought that Abril in fact won that fight, but as they say, you know, water under the bridge, so you keep pressing forward. Now Rios brings in a record of 30 victories, no losses, 22 by way of knockout, versus Alvarado, who also brings an undefeated record, his consisting of 33-0 with 23 knockouts. Brandon stands 5'8", Mike Alvarado 5'9". Rios is 68-inch reach versus Alvarado's 69.5-inch reach. I mean, we're talking almost identical records, almost identical physical advantages, which really is neither, it doesn't go either way. With even with Alvarado's half-inch reach advantage, that's still not a whole lot. It doesn't carry a whole lot of significance. I mean, these guys are virtually identical. They are practically made for each other. Neither one backs off, and it should be a promising all-action fight. Now, Alvarado is, of course, most memorable for his incredible come-from-behind victory against Breidis Prescott in the 10th round of their 140-pound matchup during the Pacquiao Marquez 3 undercard. And let me tell you, I was in a restaurant watching this fight, had my meal, had my beverages, ready to take a break, go to the bathroom. I had seen all 8-9 rounds of this guy Alvarado just getting whipped left and right. It seemed like he was just taking hit after hit after hit. And I figured, okay, last round, big deal. I'll stick around. Why not? I had to go to the restroom, but I thought, what's another 3 more minutes? Wow, I have never been more excited to witness a round like that in so long. Like I said, I haven't seen anything like that in a while. A lot of people hadn't seen anything like that in a while, especially from a virtually unknown contender at the time like Alvarado was. Dare I use the comparison of Gotti Ward or even Morales Barrera to sum up the matchup that we're seeing here tonight? Because what I saw against Breidis Prescott from Mike Alvarado was very, very reminiscent of Arturo Gatti, just taking shot after shot, punishment for virtually the entire fight, and then turning it around with a never say die, just iron will attitude, and knocking out Breidis Prescott. It was unbelievable. And what, of course, can be said about Brandon Rio that already hasn't been said? This guy makes no apologies about it. He loves to joke. He loves to talk. He's even admitted himself he does have a big mouth. But you know what? This is one of those guys that will deliver in more ways than one. He will back it up in the ring. He doesn't duck. He doesn't move. He does whatever he wants to, which is attack, attack, and attack. And Rios is also one of those fighters that truly backs up what he means when he says he'll take on anybody. He hasn't ducked a single person. He welcomes all comers. And a lot of people would really love to see him against former lightweight champion Juan Manuel Marquez, now that Marquez himself has moved up to 140 pounds. Is that a matchup we might see? Who knows? But of course, first things first, tonight, Rios versus Alvarado. As the saying goes, somebody's O has got to go. And wow, I mean, I am salivating at this. I cannot wait for the bell to ring and for these two guys to just go at it. It is going to be a brawl that promises to deliver just all across the board. Now, in the main event, an interesting turn of events with regards to the championships on the line. It is the super bantamweight world champion Nonito Donaire versus Donaire-Nishioka of Japan. Now, earlier this morning, Nonito decided to vacate one of his trinket belts. Again, as you guys know, my stance on all these alphabet belts, they're completely irrelevant. All they do is dilute the sport. But nevertheless, it has to be mentioned that Donaire was coming in with 2 world titles to defend, the WBO and the IBF. Earlier this morning, he skipped the IBF's mandated weigh-in, thereby making it official that he was in fact vacating the title. basically the circumstances were that he was going to have to defend it by the end of the year in order to retain it. Obviously, we're in October. There's no way this guy was going to take on an action fighter like Nishioka and then turn around and have to, defend the title before the end of the year. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's asking really too much of anybody, save of course maybe Cristobal Arreola, who would fight within a matter of weeks. At least he had a previous pattern of doing so. But nevertheless, it's too much to ask any fighter on the planet. So Nonito wisely vacated the title rather than receive, I believe, what was supposed to be a $40,000 fine by the IBF. Completely ridiculous. All these sanctioning fees, all these restrictions by the different sanctioning bodies just serve to do nothing but dilute the sport. But I digress. The main issue is, of course, that we have an action-packed, exciting fighter in the Filipino Flash, Nonito Donaire, versus Toshiaki Nishioka himself, a former world champion. Now, Donaire brings in the WBO World Championship, 29-1, 18 KOs. He's 29 years old and has a significant age advantage, which seems to be really the only thing he's got over Nishioka. Nonito being 5'5" and a half with a 68-inch reach versus Nishioka, who has a 5'6" and a half, 68.5-inch reach. Not a whole lot of difference, really. Nishioka, though, 36 years old and a southpaw, which really is the significance here. With Nonito fighting Nishioka, coming out of a southpaw stance. It's going to be interesting. Southpaw versus an orthodox fighter is always interesting. It does make for, of course, a little bit of conflict, most notably with headbutts. But I really don't see that. Coming in this particular fight. Now, Nishioka has not been defeated since 2004, so 8 years ago, was his last loss. Hasn't gone without one since. He's had 16 straight victories, which, by the way, 9 of those were coming by way of knockout. So, does this guy have KO power? Sure he does. Does Nonito have KO power? Absolutely. This is going to be an action-packed fight. Totally looking forward to seeing what's going to happen. So, I really don't have a whole lot of analysis to these two particular fights. It's one of those that pretty much across the board, the boxing media is all in agreement that this is going to be one hell of a night. It really is, and totally looking forward to it. So, have to end it there, but stay tuned. I'll have post-fight analysis, what I thought of these two matchups later on. But for now, let's just say let's kick back, relax, and watch probably one of the best doubleheaders that is coming along in a while in the boxing world. So till next time, this is the Wildcat saying good luck, keep it clean, have a great fight.